before Valentine's Day, before Mother's Day. Do you know what I'm saying? Just pick 3 or 4 times when people buy the most number of flowers. Just advertise. That's called the flighting schedule. Okay? Pulsing is a combination of continuity and flighting. These two. Combination of continuity and flighting becomes pulsing. In other words, throughout the year you have some advertising going, right? But during certain times of the year you spike it up. Beer, snacks, Frito-Lays. What do they do? Budweiser, what do they do? Advertise throughout the year? Throughout the year they advertise, correct? But just before the Super Bowl, just before NBA Finals, NCAA March Madness, just before the World Series, they're going to be spiking up their advertising, correct? So that's a different strategy. The 5 M's of advertising. Advertising is measured by 5 M's. Mission, money, message, media, measurement. In other words, you've got to figure out what your objective is. Decide how to spend your money on advertising based upon these different variables, right? Decide how much money, in other words, you want to spend. This is the budgeting part of it, right? Correct? Budgeting part of it. Then you decide what kind of message, what type of media you want to use, and finally, how do you measure the effectiveness and the impact of your advertising dollars? 5 M's.
What does PLC stand for?
Product life cycle. Remember product life cycle we've talked about? Stage in PLC. That means, look, if it's in the introduction stage, you got to advertise differently. If it's in the maturity stage, you got to advertise differently, right? Things like that, right? So stage in PLC. For example, you're going to spend more money if it's in the introduction stage. If it's in the maturity stage, you're going to spend less budget because you don't have to advertise that much. People already know about your product and your brand. Does that make sense? So things like that. Okay? Let's talk about sales promotion. What's sales promotion? Sales promotion is different from advertising. How so? Immediate impact. If you want to sell something within a week, within a month, your best bet is sales promotion. That's why they're called forcing techniques, because it literally forces the consumer to buy a product. What are sales promotions after all? Examples of sales promotions are? Discounts, coupons, buy one, get one free, right? Rebates. These are sales promotions. The beauty of sales promotion is there's a time limit, so people have to do it like by this week.
But isn't that the same as pulsing? Like it goes along with pulsing, right? Well, it's not the same, but you have to have an ad for the sale, for the promotion.
Correct. Remember the integrated marketing communications in that first slide I said? That's why it has to be integrated. When you do sales promotions, you got to back it up with, link it up with advertising to get the synergy. Remember I talked about synergy? It's better to do both at the same time. And if you happen to do it only 3 times in a year, then that would be, your flighting. Make sense? That's kind of what we're saying. All right. So 2 types of sales promotions. Consumer sales promotions are sales promotions that are aimed at you and me, the customers. And in this trade sales promotion is sales promotion aimed at the retailers or the distributors. Remember the supply chain members, middlemen, intermediaries? What does this remind you of? Pull strategy or push strategy? So for pull strategy, you would use, right, you're right. So push strategy would be, you'd use trade sales promotion. Pull strategy, you'd use consumer sales promotion. Agreed?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Advantages of sales promotion. A couple of quick advantages of sales promotion. Immediate sales. Advertising, you don't get immediate sales. You may have to wait for a long time to get sales through advertising. Sales promotion, you can create, if you want to sell 100 Honda Civics from the Honda dealership, if they want to move the 2016 Hondas off the lot because 2017 Hondas are coming in, their best bet is a sales promotion, right? Like what? 0% excuse me, financing or $500 cash back. These are sales promotions, right? Rebates. They'll fly off the lot like that, right? Advertising will take a long time to sell them, correct? So advantages, quick sales, immediate sales. Another advantage is much easier to measure the effectiveness of sales promotion compared to advertising, which we talked about earlier, right? Because if I have coupons, I can actually see how many people redeem the coupons and see whether the coupon is working or not, right? But with advertising, I don't know how many people bought it because they saw that ad. Does that make sense? A coupon, I can count the number of people who came in with a coupon, right? Or sent in a rebate form, correct? Disadvantage of sales promotion. Disadvantage.
Low price.
What the cost
I
was.
mean, low income.
Yeah, but I can also argue that advertising costs money too, so in a way that's also reducing your margin, right? Give me more direct disadvantages.
People will wait towards the end of the year.
They wait.
So if you overuse sales promotion, then people don't buy at the regular price, they only want to wait for the coupon or the sale price, right? That is the problem of sales promotion, right? Of overusing sales promotion. Agreed? That's why Walmart and things don't like to get into all that. The other disadvantage of sales promotion is called cannibalization. Cannibalization, right? Cannibalization. What does cannibalization mean?
Basically killing your sales on other products.
Correct.
based on-
The Hondas, what did I say, Honda Civics, let's say I sold 1,000 Honda Civics by giving a $1,000 cash back. You know what that just did? Yeah, it increased the sales of Honda Civics, but it decreased the sales of Honda Accords, didn't it? Because some people who would have bought Accords or Honda CRVs instead bought the Civics. So I think I sold a lot of Civics, but a lot of it is cannibalizing or eating into my own product sales, right? Other product sales. Does that make sense? Cannibalization, right? Another form of cannibalization is called borrowing from future sales. Borrowing from future sales means what? Borrowing from future sales. That means what?
People that were gonna buy later, they came and bought now.
Correct.
Then you have a gap.
Correct. People who bought Honda Civics now in November are not buying it next year. Now they would have bought next year. So by selling them now, you've just borrowed from your 2017 sales. Does that make sense? And some of them may not buy 2017 Honda Civics because you just sold them the 2016 Honda Civics by giving them a promotion, right? So there's all these issues of borrowing from you. You don't. You can't control it, but what you do is you do the math. That's what they do. They see how much of this sales promotion is going to bring new sales, create extra sales of the Honda Civics, minus how much we're losing through cannibalization. You see what I'm saying? And then do the math and see, is it worth doing it or not? Does that make sense? If I'm getting 10 million because of selling Civics and I lost 3 million because I borrowed from next year's sales, then I'm okay. But if it's 5 here and 5 there, then why am I doing this? Right? So you've got to do the maths. That's what I'm saying. A lot of calculations have to go into this before you decide. So these are some of the disadvantages of sales promotions. So the consumer sales promotions is coupons, giving free samples. What are premiums? Premiums are things that you give away free with your product, like McDonald's Happy Meal toys. Or you know the little toys you get in the cereal boxes, right? So free things that you give away are called premiums. This helps sell the product, right? You realize McDonald's sells so many Happy Meals because kids want that little toy? So that's a sales promotion. It's premiums, contests and sweepstakes, right? You know that? Contests and sweepstakes?
Yes. I have a question.
What is this one called? Like for is like a professional service offices like doctors and like they send out coupons and asking you come for free testings or stuff like that. But when you come, they will do the test and actually free. But at the end of the day, they're going to give you a huge amount of money in which they're going to use to treat whatever outcomes of the testing. So what is it called?
So they're going to do a free diagnostic or a free check.
Exactly.
And then you are going to go there and you're going to find that you have some problems.
Right? Definitely, they will find problems.
Car mechanics, can they do that? The free brake checks and
Let's get your attention.
oil checked, etc., right? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh yeah, the example I have is this. I keep getting this coupon about coming to do free, check your teeth, Then I took the coupon, then I went to the place, to the dentist.
Right.
And after checking the place, running the scan, different testings and so on and so forth, then it comes up with like about almost $2,000 that, okay, this is what I need to just come and you need to wash teeth, you need to do this,
Right,
and that.
right. So that would be your example of samples. It would be closest to where they give away something. Samples can also be free service, right? We're doing a free checkup, free this, free that. Anything that's being given free. But the idea is that when you give it free, you bring the customers in, and then it's up to you. You may choose to walk away, but there's a good chance that now they have your database, and most people will buy something, will do something, right? So that's an example of samples. Premiums, contests and sweepstakes. The difference between contests and sweepstakes is contests, you have to do something. It's some skill, supposedly. You got to match something. McDonald's Monopoly, you have to match the pieces, right? Whereas sweepstakes, you don't have to do anything. You just enter your name, and you got a chance to win, right? That's the basic difference. Refunds and rebates, you all know about that, right? Rebates, mail-in rebates. Bonus packs are when they give you, the 20% extra detergent or 20% more cereal in the box. Those are called bonus packs for the same price, right? Loyalty programs, right? Buy 5, get the 6th one free. Loyalty programs. Events. Just creating special events to bring customers in, to entertain them, and meanwhile also maybe give samples and so on. Trade-oriented. These are sales promotions for the retailers. Incentives given to the retailers. What is co-op advertising? Advertising that is where the manufacturer is paying the retailer for part of the advertising. Sharing the cost of advertising. Does that make sense? It's like your Coca-Cola says to Kroger that if you advertise Coca-Cola for this week, we will pay for 20% of your Kroger advertising. If ours is the featured product on your sales sheet. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Co-op advertising. That's called so there's 2 types of advertising. Horizontal co-op advertising is when 2 retailers are cooperating and sharing the cost, like all the dealerships and Toyota dealerships are sharing the cost of advertising the new Toyota Camry. That would be what? Horizontal cooperative advertising. Vertical cooperative is when Toyota manufacturer is cooperating with the retailer, right? Do you know what I'm saying? Like Intel Inside, right? That's vertical. Makes sense? By the way, in about 7 or 8 minutes I'll finish, okay? So just give me another 7 or 8 minutes and we'll be done. That way we can wrap this up. Personal selling, you know what personal selling is. When someone is selling directly face to face with someone else. Correct? What is the advantage? Advantage of personal selling is? What's the big advantage compared to advertising and sales promotion? Very effective. The most effective communication tool is face-to-face selling. Right? The other advantage is you can customize your message. See, advertising and sales promotion is a standardized message everybody gets, right? Personal selling, you can make your presentation and message different depending on your needs, who you are, right? These are advantages, correct? What's disadvantages of personal selling?
Only one
Expensive, very expensive, right? Because it's one-on-one. Imagine trying to reach 100 million people through personal selling, right? Very expensive. Commission, cost, paying per diem, travel, buying uniform, training your salespeople, orientation. It's expensive, right? Right? So personal selling is very expensive. Other disadvantage of personal selling, you don't have control over the message. Which salesperson is going to say what? You don't know. Often they don't know, they're not trained, they say the wrong things. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas with advertising, you can control the message. Agreed? So disadvantages of personal selling. Publicity and PR. The main thing about publicity and PR is, by the way, it's very important, but it's not advertising, it's not sales promotion, it's not personal selling. How is it different? Main way it's different is, what's the main way that it's different? It's free. Right? When Jerry Jones talks about the Cowboys, and ESPN is showing Jerry Jones talking about the Cowboys, Jerry Jones is not paying ESPN for that 30-second spot. Does that make sense? Right? The reason why Trump did so well, experts say, is because of his outrageous comments and different things he did. He got like 70% of the media time instead of Hillary's 30%. Because the media, for ratings, would cover Trump more. Does that make sense? But Trump didn't have to pay for any of that, agreed? Because it's publicity, isn't it? Every time they're talking about him on Fox or wherever it is, it's more interesting to talk about him than Hillary. So, right? Does that make sense? So he's getting hundreds of millions of dollars of free advertising. Just publicity. Did he do it intentionally? Or he just got lucky? I don't know. I'll let you decide. But it's a great strategy, right? To get free publicity. The advantage of publicity is, what's the advantages of publicity?
It's free.
It's free. Exactly. Cost so cheap. It's either free or almost free. Other advantage of publicity, it's very credible. People believe publicity. When Dallas Morning News says something, or when Oprah Winfrey says something, right? Do you know what I'm saying? We believe it. Agreed? Whereas when advertisers say something, we say, oh, yeah, they're just advertising. Correct? But if CNN says something about your product, that's great, because people believe that, because that's supposed to be unbiased, correct? So publicity is credible and it's free. Disadvantage of publicity?
You don't know when it's going to happen, if it's going to happen.
Exactly right. It's a double-edged sword, as I say. It cuts both sides, double-edged sword. It can cut in your favor, but it can also cut off your own neck. Right? Because if publicity is bad, nothing can help you. Right? Like to get publicity, what do? They invite the restaurant critics when they open a new restaurant, come and eat in there, because then they feel that they'll write nice things in Dallas Morning News and give it a 4-star rating, and then suddenly they give them a 1-star rating, right? Now they're dead, correct? Because you can't control what happens. It can kill both. It can cut you, or it can cut the competition. It's a double-edged sword. You got to be very careful. That's a danger of publicity, right? Danger of publicity. Direct marketing is, whether it's through phone or whether through catalogs being sent in your mailbox, whether it's emails being sent to you, in your email inbox. This is called direct marketing, where the marketer is directly reaching you. Advantage, easier to measure, as you brought it up earlier in the class, right? Easier to measure this, easier to keep track of it. It may be cheaper, but disadvantages, it's considered spam, it's considered junk mail, it may be reaching the wrong person, possibly. So these are all the problems of direct mail, right? Correct? Advantages and disadvantages of direct mail. Make sense? Because These catalogs cost a lot of money. Most people throw the catalog without even opening it, right? Yeah, a lot of people do. What about the emails that you get? Spam folder. At least spam email doesn't cost much for them to send. But those catalogs, some of them are costing $5-10 to produce those glossy catalogs, right? So, direct marketing can be any of these things, agreed? Anything where you're reaching the customer directly, agreed, is called direct marketing, including QVC and, the home shopping network and all that. Direct marketing, right?
What is shopping channels?
Those QVC and, the home shopping network, those TV channels that only sell directly. And was it Lori Grenier from Shark Tank? Those of you know what I'm talking about? She's called the queen of infomercials and QVCs, etc. They sell directly to the customer through TV. This is direct response advertising, where Bose speakers is these kinds of. It's an ad, but it's also called a direct response ad because it requires you to respond in some way by calling a phone number or sending in that piece of information. These are called direct response advertising. Advertising that requires a direct response from you. Interactive or internet marketing, advantages and disadvantages. I don't have to spend more than a minute talking about that. You already know. We already talked about it when you brought it up earlier. Whether it's Google AdWords or, click, pay-per-click, etc., etc. Much easier to control, much easier to measure, much easier to create a database. These are advantages. Disadvantages, you can't reach all segments with that. Very few people still can be reached through this kind of marketing. The other disadvantage is it's considered spam, or the image is still not that good for interactive or internet marketing, right? So these are some of but it is the rapidly growing advertising medium. It is the fastest growing advertising medium today, right? Internet advertising. And therefore, as you can see, you can reach. In summary, you can reach the target audience with all these different things. In other words, it's not just advertising, it's everything that's focused on the customer, and that's why we call it integrated marketing communications. Does that make sense? Right? Any questions? So this is what we were missing, right? I needed that 3